today?
Good.
Yes, excellent, that's what I want to hear. We are making paper. This is part 3 of making paper. The first part was me showing you how to rip up the paper and mulch it all in some water. The second part, I actually got my paper making frame, didn't I? And I put it in the water and I showed you. Now I'm going to show you how to do that and then what it's going to look like at the end. So I've got my mushy paper in here. We've actually used quite a lot of the paper, so there's not much paper left. There's a lot more water than paper. Now, if you have more water, the more water you use, the thinner your paper is going to be. So this paper that I'm going to make today is probably going to be quite thin, and then I'm going to add more paper to it so everybody gets to make some paper. So, like I showed you before, I've got my frame. It's like a little door, open, close. I'm going to put it at the very bottom of the tub. Maybe I can put this up here to show you a bit better. At the bottom of the tub, and I'm going to zhuzh it around and around and around. And the more you zhuzh it around, that's the technical scientific term, the thicker your paper is going to be. So I'm going to dive in like this, woo, underneath like this, and I'm zhuzhing it around and around and around, and I can see all of the paper floating on top of the water. And then I'm going to make sure I'm holding my frame at the bottom and at the top and very slowly lift it up like this. So in here, there's water and there's the paper. So I don't know if you can see that there. I don't want the water in it though, like I showed you last time. This time I've got a towel prepared, so I'm a bit more prepared this time. We always learn the more times we do things. So we're gonna put this down here. Now, if I started patting the paper with my towel, I'm gonna get paper all over the towel. So I have a little bit of a fly wire here that I could open this up and put it on top. And then I shut it again. And then I get my towel and I start to pat it dry like that. Now, you might not have a frame at home. So I thought I would also show you what you could do if you have like a sieve or like a big colander. So it's the same sort of thing. You put it in, push it around and around and around, and then you put it back up. Now, ultimately, it would be better if your sieve was wider and not so much of a enclosed. So with one of these, I would leave it to dry just on top of my frame like this. I don't want to pat it too much because there's nothing over the top. So maybe I could get another strainer and put it over the top and then pat it, or I could just leave it like that. And when it's dry, I pop it out. So this is not dry yet, but this is what I would do. I pat all the water out of it. And then I'm gonna make sure I hold both sides, the top and the bottom, and I'm gonna flip it over. Whoop, just like that. And then I'm gonna pat this side as well. Pat, 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 pat. Get all of that water out of it, because what happens to water, what happens to paper when it's wet?
It's sticky.
It gets sticky and it gets soggy, and we don't want our new paper to be like that, because the old paper that we were using is like that. All right, I'm gonna see now if when I open it up, it has not stuck, or it's stuck a little bit on the corner here, but that's okay. Say, hey presto, look at that, I've got my paper. So this, I need to dry this. Look at this, so I'm not sure if you can see inside, there's teeny tiny bits of paper. Now, if you don't want your paper to be this color, what's this color? What do you reckon? Is it kind of purpley or grey? Grey? It's a bit grey. If you don't want your paper to be grey, guess what you can do? You can add a few drops of coloured like food dye. You can make pink paper. You can make blue paper. You can even make black paper, any sort of colour. You can experiment and just mix it in with your water. So here's one I prepared earlier. Look at over here. Well, not me, this one's Ashton's one. Maybe put this down so I can show you. How cool's this one? So this is Ashton's one he did yesterday. It's still a little bit wet. Oh my gosh, you can see a little bit of the grass from when we were mixing all of the paper and the water when we were outside. You might even be able to see a couple of letters from the newspaper. I can see an ES here. How awesome is that? So that's Ashton's here. I've got Callan's over here as well, which is a bit more dry. Now, when they're dry, you do need to be very careful, because if you're too rough with it, it will rip. And then I think what you could do, you could draw a beautiful picture. You could put it in a frame and you could give it to someone in your family or a friend and say, thank you, I love you so much. So how cool is this? Some awesome paper. We made new paper from old paper. How cool is that? So I would love to see you guys doing this at home. I'm definitely going to be doing it here at Kinder. I hope you enjoyed it, because this is our finished product. What do you reckon? Is it awesome?
Yeah.
Yes, I agree. Cool. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.